Stonewash blades, my favorite blade finish. Man, do I love the Stonewash. There's a lot of different variants in them too. No Stonewash is quite like another Stonewash. When you hear bead blasted, satin, high polish, more or less they generally look about the same because they're made the same way. But stonewashing gives the manufacturer, or whoever's throwing the finish on the knife, a lot of leeway, a lot of creativity. There's a lot of different ways you can stonewash a blade. Here we have a CJRB stonewash, and then on the right we have a cold steel stonewash. You can see they're a little bit different. If anything, it's a little bit more fine, a little bit more sparkly on the left, but the one on the right looks a little bit more rugged. Looks more like glass shards to me. I don't know how else to describe it. Less fine on the 4MAX Scout by Cold Steel on the right, a little bit more fine on the CJRB. But at the end of the day, they're both stonewash finishes. All these Cold Steels pretty much have the exact same style of stonewash finish because it's all from the same manufacturer. But here's a different one. Even more rough than the Cold Steels and even less reflective. This is by Boker, the S2, one of my favorites. Very low reflect, even less reflection on this. It looks almost like a matte or like a bead blasted finish, but it's not. It is stonewash. This one's a little bit more reflective than most of the ones we just looked at. Pretty close to the CJRB right here. Very, very similar finish. A little bit less sparkly, but a little bit more smooth, I suppose. Stonewash finishes are not quite like the other stonewash finishes. There's a lot of different ways you can stonewash a knife. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, these have always been my favorite finish styles ever since I started getting into knives, and they've been very, very popular. I want to say the last 5-6 years. Before then, a lot of people didn't really seem to care that much about them. People thought they were ugly. People thought they looked worn. Like, I heard a lot of negative things about them from my recollection anyway. But last few years, about half a decade, people are really starting to fancy them more and more. And why? Well, there's a lot of advantages objectively, not just the beauty of them. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's completely subjective. I can't say this is a good looking knife, that's a bad looking knife. I may have my opinion may differ from yours. It usually does. But functionally, objectively speaking, stonewash finishes are very affordable. Very simply, just tumble the blades with rocks or whatever materials you want to use to tumble it. That's one of the reasons you'll get a different style finish. Creates a very decidedly inconsistent, unique pattern. No stonewash finish will quite be like another, as you've already seen right here on the table. I like how they even stonewash the locking mechanism down here too. So nice. It's a very good economy finish. Very simple and cheap to produce. As far as rust resistance is concerned, I think it's going to be about as rust resistant and corrosion resistant as a satin finish. Not like a high polish or anything, but it's certainly not going to be as bad as a bead blasting or anything beneath that. It's run-of-the-mill rust resistance. But as far as wear resistance and getting scratched, it's one of the hardest finishes to scratch and ding up. Not only because it already looks pre-worn, every scratch you add to a stonewash finish only adds to the beauty of it, I say, but because of how smooth it is on the surface, you can feel a stonewash blade in comparison to, say, like a satin blade or something. These smudge up a lot less. They're a lot harder to scratch just because the finish is so smooth. It has something to do with the fact that it's tumbled. It just smooths out the finish. So not only do I think these look beautiful, they wear a lot better than almost any other blade finish I can think of, and they're not expensive to produce either. A lot of people are really into the high polish finishes. I think those are beautiful. I agree, but damn, those things smudge up easily. You touch those once, it's ruined. You gotta go get a microfiber cloth and keep wiping those. You gotta carry those with you pretty much. They smudge up so much. They're expensive. They scratch really easily. Granted, they're very, very smooth, so you could almost consider it to be almost like a lube. Like if you cut with them, they can actually get into tighter areas easier. Yeah, stonewash is my favorite, and until something better comes out, I think it's gonna continue to be my favorite. Black wash, that's a pretty sweet one too. Acid washes, those are sweet, but you start getting more expensive with finishes like that. Standard stonewash, I think, are functionally, objectively, cosmetically, and subjectively very, very good finishes. Probably the best overall finish for production knives, if we're talking about all of those factors, including price. Just keep that in mind. What do you think of the stonewash finish? You think they're beautiful too? Do you think they're ugly? Are there things you don't like about them that I completely missed and went over my head? Or do you think we should just get more and more stonewash finishes? Because god damn, I think they're beautiful. Now, if everybody starts using the stonewash finish on all of their knives, then they're not going to be special anymore, and then everybody's going to hate them. So that's just how that works. But for now, really beautiful finishes. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell notification if you do not want to miss weekly knife and gun videos. See you soon. Mannix out.